This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you.
Hey guys, it's me Travis with PlayerProps.ai, and this is what we're looking at for Thursday's NBA games. Coming off another winner on Tuesday. We had Kaishan George, and at the beginning of the Tuesday episode, I spent, maybe 5 to 10 minutes explaining how to have the proper mindset when it comes to betting. Because if you have the wrong mindset, you're gonna hate your life, you're gonna hate betting, and you're gonna hate losing even more. And so one of the things I harped on Tuesday's show, which focused on the NBA play, before we even started researching, it's so important that I have to rehash it here. When you place a bet, whatever your bet is, this person to do this person to that, NBA, NFL, college basketball, NHL, doesn't matter. If you are upset at any point in the early part of the game. So let's say you bet on player A and NBA to get 16 points, over 15.5. If as soon as the game starts and the first quarter is over with and maybe he only has like 2, 3, maybe 0 points, if you are incredibly angry, like legit angry, you're upset, it's affecting your mentality, even though you bet on a full game bet and the bet has not lost, but your emotions, your mental space is still reflecting it being a losing bet, you should not be betting. Betting is a fun hobby. If you do not treat betting as a fun hobby, you are not going to have a great time. And you should not be betting because it's going to jack up your life in more ways than you can imagine. So, I talked about how when you bet on a full game bet, you give it the full game. You stop tilting in the second quarter and be like, oh man, he only has 5 of his 16 points and it's halftime. Oh, I hate betting, this sucks. Your bet is not a loser until it is a loser. Your bet is a winner until it becomes a losing bet. If it doesn't become a losing bet, it is still a winning bet. You need to have this mindset or you are not going to have fun betting on sports. So, and I know that, I forgot who it was in Discord, but they CEO just talked about the mindset of waiting until the clock reads 000, which with Tuesday's pick, we essentially had to, because Kaishan George was not doing well shooting. At halftime, I don't know, maybe I want to say he had 8 or 9 points. So we needed him to get 15. He had 8 or 9 points at halftime, and then he got like almost no points in the third quarter, I don't think. And so we had a lot to make up in the fourth quarter, but he made some threes. He got fouled a little bit at the end because Washington was up, so they sent him to the free throw line, where he actually finished with 20. Even though going into the fourth quarter, he maybe had like 10, 11, he finished with 20 points, scored 10 plus in the fourth quarter, which just harps on the mindset. Your bet is not over until it is over. If you are always frustrated, that frustration, it doesn't just jack up your mind, it can actually jack up your entire system internally, where maybe it'll mess up your stress levels or your blood pressure levels. It actually has real world negative effects. And that is the absolute opposite of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make you not just a better, not just like, hey, if you follow these guidelines, you're going to win more and lose less. Just follow the guidelines. It's not just that. It's how you should be as a person with what mentality you should have. So you're not just, it's great to win more and lose less, but you have to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy the process through all the wins. You have to enjoy the process through all the losses. If you hate the process through the wins and the losses, that means sports betting is not something you should be doing at this time until you have the right mindset. So please, for the love of all that's holy, treat every single thing you bet on as a win until it is not a win. Now, that's when as long as you're following our guidelines anyway. I mean, if you're throwing like 75 picks together, I can tell you it's going to be a loss at the beginning because there's guidelines that work, and if you don't follow the guidelines, it won't work. So follow the guidelines. And one of those, again, is getting into the free Discord. If you're not in the Discord and you're like, why are so many people having success with this app and I can't match their level of success? Maybe it's the fact that they listened to me when I said join the Discord and they didn't ignore me and throw a hissy fit because they don't want to join a community chat room. It's not about joining. It's not about the community chat room. It's about where you learn how to best use the app and how you can check to make sure you're using it right on a daily basis. You look at this, you go through the process. Okay, so I think I like player A over 15.5 points, but let me make sure I'm looking at the app correct. Screenshot, Discord, post an NBA props channel. Hey, I'm looking at this. I think it checks all the boxes. What do you guys think? 22,000 members say, you know what? That does look like a pretty good one. Great find. Or, no, I wouldn't do that because XYZ, and that could essentially save you however much money you were going to bet on that in the first place. Discord is essential. The metaphor that I keep trying to shove down your throats is that this is the Discord, or the app is the car, the Discord are the keys. If you get the car and you don't take the keys, guess what happens? The car is not going to drive. You need to have both. If you're like, I don't want to get in Discord, that's as dumb as saying that I'm going to buy a car and I'm not going to take the keys. Doesn't that sound dumb? Stop ignoring me, get in the gosh dang Discord. All right, so we're going to start on points here. I believe there are 8 NBA games tonight. I know you see a few new things here. We talked about these in previous episodes. If you have any questions about them, again, guess what you're going to ask? You're going to ask in the Discord. But we are going to go to our remove any baby lines. We're going to see if there's anything here that just makes sense. So first I'm going to scan all of the ones that have a difference that I'm at least intrigued about. And this guy, Brandon Miller's, so he's on my fantasy basketball team, and he's like the best player, which is unfortunate because he's like my 5th round pick, which means which means everybody else I drafted, like Trae Young, not working out, been riding the pine. But this guy has been fire. Like, the only time he missed, he barely missed. He had 20 points exactly, and he did not hit the 21. So every other time he has scored over 20.5 points in the last 8 games. Barely missed here. Played 28 minutes. Shot 8-15, 2 personal fouls. It's interesting that AI said he's going to score 20 points, and he scored 20 points exactly. Sometimes AI is just on top of things. But the concern is this B2B. If you still don't know what this means back-to-back. This means that Brandon Miller played a game yesterday. And when players play games back-to-back, typically, more often than not, there's a negative effect to playing a back-to-back game, where maybe the coach only gives him a certain amount of minutes so he doesn't destroy his star player by loading an insane amount of minutes, like back-to-back 40-minute games. So this was yesterday. He played 30 minutes, scored 26 points. There's also the defense stuff here. Dallas has been pretty good at guarding players playing in a small forward spot and allowing points. I just want to highlight this guy. He's been pretty consistent. But out of those 3 here that have a difference that I would maybe consider of 3 points or more, both these guys are on back-to-backs. Both these guys are versing red defenses for the season. And then they have a orange defense for the last 2 weeks. Then we go up to Miles Turner here, and he is versing a squishy defense this season, and then a defense that's... So this is orange, but also pay attention to the number here. The number is 58, and to get to red, it only needs to be 50. So it's a lot closer to red than it is to being green. He has 15.5. Projection is 3.32 higher. And let's take a gander at this guy real quick. So on the positive side, Giannis isn't going to be playing for this team anytime soon. He's out, and he's also trying to force a trade. He's played 9 games out of the team's last 10 games. Kevin Porter's played 7, and he's out. So there's 2 players that have played that are 30-plus minute players for Milwaukee that have played at least 70% of the team's last 10 games that are not playing, which means the load goes to everybody else here. Miles Turner's played 8 out of the last 10. These 3 guys have played 10-10, and AJ Green has played 9-10. So when it comes to like the season stuff, you have to factor in that Giannis is the focus of the offense, and he's not playing. Giannis, go back to this again, he's played 9 of the last 10 games. So I think the last one was the last game is the only one he missed. And you see here, out of the... Okay, how does Miles Turner react when Giannis doesn't play? 31 minutes. That's how he does. This is the one game that he's missed. All of these other games, the Greek Freak was playing, and he misses a game, and he's out again today. No, the one game we have where this lineup is essentially the same as it is tonight as it was 2 nights ago. Same thing. They played on the road at Philly. He scored 31. They're playing on the road at Washington. The next thing we would check is to see if it's a blowout, and it looks like Washington is a plus 2.5 underdog, so it still should be a close game. Hopefully even maybe overtime potential. Our last play on Tuesday was a Washington play, but it had nothing to do with centers. But the thing I want to pay attention to is that Alex Sarr he plays out of the center spot. I think he's a center spot tonight too. Yeah, so Alex Sarr, whether he plays or not, he's questionable. I think he probably is going to play, just because they have 2 other big men who are already ruled out. I think they're going to try to get him to play. But what I'm trying to say here is, who is the center for Portland? I think Klingon got like a lot of minutes, and Alex Sarr allowed so many offensive rebounds and putbacks and points from Klingon. Klingon had a monster game. Mainly on the boards, he had 20 rebounds, but because he kept rebounding offensive rebounds, and he's super tall and decently athletic, he's not the greatest center in the world by a large margin, but Alex Sarr is giving up a lot of points to that guy. And I actually want to pull up that game. I'm curious, how many points did Klingon get without me having to go back on the app? We're looking at Tuesday the 22nd. Washington won by 4 points. Klingon had 14 points and 20 rebounds. So Klingon, I don't know what his projection was, but Miles Turner, I think, is a better scoring center than Klingon. So we're pretty much just looking at the Greek Freak missing. And even when Greek Freak, like if we go over the season here, he still is able to have, like, every once in a while having decent scoring games for his line anyway, when Greek Freak is playing. But look at this compared to everything this season. Boom. Skyrockets. And then this new feature, another new feature that is awesome, is you're like, okay, I understand that he scored 31 points, which is essentially double his line against Philadelphia. But I want to know, what was Philadelphia's defensive rankings? Well, we add a new feature. You click on this calendar, it'll show you. It'll only let you click on days that this player played. So this last game is the 27th. You can't click on 28th. So what this lets us do is it lets us see his player card from when it was the 7th. I have to change this here so we can actually show it. So his line against Philly was only 12.5, and he goes off for 31 against a red defense. So we would not have played this, but it's interesting to note that his line was low and he exploded against a red defense. And this super low line of 12.5, he's hit a lot more often. So his line is a little bit higher, but you have to take into account that he had a pretty solid game against a red defense. And now he's getting a green-orange defense. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think this is going to be a 30-minute show today. I think we might have already found what we're looking for here. So now let's fast forward to today again. I'm trying to see, is there anything else that we're not considering from this checklist? And so you can say, like, well, Travis, I understand the season that Greek Freak has been playing most of the time, but what about head-to-head? So the head-to-head's the same concept. So you're like, okay, this is in the last 365 days, this guy has played Washington 5 times, and he has not missed in the last 4 games. But again, was Greek Freak playing in these games? More than likely. The one game we have, but this roster, so this is... There's only 3 games from this season, and these two are last season. So let's just focus on this season. Did Washington have the exact same roster these 3 games, or did Milwaukee? Most likely not, because these other guys, like Ryan Rollins wasn't necessarily, like this wasn't the starting roster, even when Bobby Portis was playing off the bench and Giannis was playing in the small. No, I think Giannis, he's been bouncing back and forth this season between the between power forward and small forward spot, I believe. But with this roster, this guy went off for 31, because I'm pretty sure that roster was the same. I'll confirm that here in a second. Yes, so the roster is exactly the same on Tuesday as it is tonight. So now what we do is the last part. When you find something that looks good, don't just bet it. You want to... The reasons why it's not showing anything is that A, we have the wrong game selected, and we're already searching for a very specific player here. Well, we can just actually get rid of that. So everybody's got him at 15.5. I didn't think his line was going to be any different. But what's interesting to note... Oh. Did we just lose him? No. What's interesting to note is that DraftKings... Why did this keeps... We made this to update very, very often. Very frequently now. So when you have it at this kind of window and you have it on desktop, which rarely people minimize their window like this on desktop. They kind of have the large version. It's good that it's updating frequently. But what's important here is that every sportsbook is favoring the under except for DraftKings. So you can get him at minus 105. I mean, it's minus both sides, but it's still favored on the under for FanDuel, BetMGM, BetRivers, and Hard Rock. So the consensus is that the sportsbooks are favoring the under, which would not make it a trifecta play. But when you're highlighting DraftKings specifically, that's why it is showing trifecta. But I don't know. It looks like it makes sense. And if Alex Sarr plays, I still think he can get 16. And if Alex Sarr doesn't play, I still think they have 2 centers who are currently already ruled out. So that means if Alex Sarr doesn't play, they're on their 4th center. Like, hold on. I'm going to go to the last Wizards game. So if Alex Sarr doesn't play, like, who even heck comes in for him as a big man? I don't even know. Like, off the bench. So Sarr played 36 minutes. Scored 29 points. That doesn't matter. But he played 36 minutes. And I'm looking at the rebounds. And I'm looking at the players. And I don't even know who they would start. They would have to, like, move so many different things around. Maybe they'll put Chris Middleton as center. Who knows? But I think they're going to make him play. And I think that Miles Turner can get 16 points against Alex Sarr. Especially on, like, putback stuff. Like I was saying, Klingon got 20 rebounds against Alex Sarr, and a chunk of them were offensive. I'll find the number of what was offensive here in a second. Klingon, 13! Alex Sarr allowed 13 offensive rebounds to Klingon. Klingon is an offensive rebound beast, and Alex Sarr did not box out. Klingon was able to get 13 offensive rebounds, and he put some of them back, and that helped his points because he's already there. The ball's already in his hand. He's already tall. Boom, dunk, or put back, or tip shot, whatever, or passing out at outlet, which is hopefully what we don't have Miles Turner's doing too often. But yeah, like, just based, like, yeah, there's nothing else. I think this is what we're gonna be rocking and rolling with. Please follow All That's Holy. Any questions you have, ask them in the Discord. That's why it exists. If you're new, do not lock anything in using this app until you ask the community if it looks good or not, because chances are, if you're day one, there may be a part of the 6-step checklist or the 7 steps to success that you're not referencing, and you can have 22,000 people, or one person. You only need one person to say, hey, we wouldn't play that because XYZ. and maybe you would have bet $10, $20, $100 or whatever on it. That saved you $10, $20, $100 from losing because it's not an ideal, not an optimal play. You don't just look at the app. You don't just like, oh, this looks like it's nice. No, that's the same thing as gambling. We don't gamble here. We bet. If you want to switch from being a gambler to a bettor, then you're going to get in the Discord. If you're going to refuse to get in the Discord, then you're going to be a gambler. So when you light your money on fire, that's all you. It's not us. Have a healthier mindset. Follow the guidelines. It is not rocket science. We break it down very easily. This app is very, very easy to use. You just have to try to learn how to use it. The only way you can fail here is by ignoring all the guidelines and not asking questions in the Discord. That's literally the only way. We are approaching our 2-year anniversary. Out of the entire time of all of the people, what are we on now? 90,000 people who have downloaded our app and created an account on PlayerProps.ai. The only people during that time that did not have success in reducing their losses were the ones that did not follow the guidelines. It's that easy. Just follow the guidelines, ask questions, get in the Discord, learn how to use everything. As long as you're following the 7 steps to success, as long as you're doing the 6-step checklist on every player prop you're looking at, you are going to lose less often, which is your number one goal for 2026. It is not to make winning a 15-pick parlay. That is not your goal. That is what the sportsbooks want you to have your goal, because that's how they keep stealing your money. Your actual goal is to reduce your losses, and that is what we do. So for the love of all that's holy, stop shooting yourself in the foot. Follow the guidelines, lose less, get in the Discord. We'll see you guys there. Good luck.